You might be a person like me and this might drive you nuts, but I have been working really hard to not sweat the small things, okay? So let me show you what I mean. There's lard frozen in a jar. Take it out, stick it back in the freezer. Lard frozen in a jar.
You see, it's very important to interweave the lattice.
Hi friends, welcome back to Rouse Rising. Today we are doing a whole lot of cooking. It is my birthday. We're gonna do some celebrating, but we're gonna be making all kinds of stuff. We're gonna make a meat pie, we're gonna make pumpkin rolls, we're gonna make cornbread and beans and ham, and this video is chocked full of fall recipes, so make sure you watch till the end and check it out. All right, so Grandpa's gonna help us put together this Air 32, and we are gonna let the dog move into it. I mean the baby. We're gonna let the baby. And Tivum sent us this Air 30 pet house, and it's intended for chickens, but people have used them for bunny rabbits and a variety of pets. We just thought it would be funny to put the puppy in here after we got it built, but for our family's purposes and uses, we intend to use this for a couple of chickens. The dog thought it was fun for a little bit, and we moved on with life. But isn't this thing cool? It's got cool latches on it, and it keeps your pet safe in a safe, fenced-in little area.
Come on, come on.
It's okay, baby. No.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Yay! What you doing, Dad?
I spent many sleepless nights trying to figure out a good system for getting pea-sized chunks of butter into flour. Cheese grater! The day I saw it on a YouTube channel, I felt really ripped off. Don't forget to add a little bit of thumb skin. Well, pea-size didn't really become pea-size, it became, we are showing you how not to make a pie crust.
Okay, 8 potatoes.
Oh, great idea. Now it's stuck to the plastic. It's gonna all come apart. It's your fault, Katie.
Now we gotta start over, and we gotta render the lard down and make a pie tomorrow. Forget it. Forget it. All right, Grandpa Sundstrom got the pie crust ready, and I'm gonna start off the filling with some red meat. This is elk meat, and I'm gonna brown it in some olive oil to give it some flavor. And once Grandpa and the kiddos come back from their bike ride, we are going to assemble this dinner. In this video, we're also going to be making those delicious pumpkin spice oatmeal cookies, and we're going to make a pumpkin cinnamon roll with some leftover sourdough that I had sitting around in the fridge from pizza night last week. I would love to have you stick around. Be sure to click that subscribe button to join the Rouse Rising family. What is that for? Aren't all the juices going to flow through there?
Let's let the gas out.
Now, folks, the most important thing about baking a pie is the chair you're sitting on when you throw it in. Back when I was herding sheep in Australia, we used to sit around the Dutch ovens and make shepherd's pie.
Look at Bodie looking up there.
I love it when he climbs stuff.
No.
It is a real pie.
It's a meat pie.
A meat pie.
You see, it's very important to interweave the lattice.
Says who?
Yeah.
It looks beautiful.
Not this.
Next up, I'm going to get some butter melting to make some pumpkin cinnamon rolls. And I'm going to be using some canned pumpkin for this recipe, some pumpkin seasoning, some melted butter, brown sugar for the filling. The meat pie is all done in the oven, so I'm trying to multitask here. You're going to see me bounce back and forth.
I hope you make one without pumpkin.
I will. Yeah, I was going to do half pumpkin and half the other one not.
Thank you, Mom.
Because this one's not
I'm
pumpkin.
a big fan of pumpkin. I don't know why.
I love keeping sourdough already made in the refrigerator for up to about 5 days typically, because I can use it for a variety of recipes. It's just nice to keep in there, and the refrigeration keeps the dough retarded so it doesn't blow up too much. But this dough was on its last day and needed to be used pretty much immediately. So that's why we're making a bunch of cinnamon rolls here, or pumpkin rolls. And I've lost my wire. I had a wire that I was using to cut my cinnamon rolls, and this dough is so overproofed at this point that it's a little bit sloppy. It's not holding its shape great. You can see the roll right there is flattened out, but it's still going to make a delicious sourdough pumpkin cinnamon roll. To make the filling, I just wanted to make a little bit more spreadable paste. So I just added some sugar to some pumpkin puree. I added probably about 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice seasoning and a little bit of cinnamon. And I added some butter to the inside as well. So I added some of that melted butter to the mixture, and I just tried to make it a thicker or a thinner spreadable paste for those. I don't have exact measurements, but just go with your gut. Always trust your gut when it comes to cooking from scratch. And you'll come out, pretty good. Taste things as you go if you need to. We are going to douse these in butter, and when they come out of the oven, they're going to be super, super butter bubbly, and then they absorb all the butter and they become like these butter fat bombs that are absolutely amazing and so delicious. I'm going to put those in for about 400 degrees. The oven's still preheating, but that's okay. And then they baked for about 20 minutes. Here is the finished meat pie. It turned out beautiful. My dad pre-cooked the undercrust and then added the raw crust on top. And then we cooked this in the oven at 350 for about 20 to 30 minutes until the top lattice was browned. And it turned out beautiful. It was really tasty. We ate the whole pie. There weren't any leftovers. And then for the topping on my pumpkin cinnamon rolls, all I did was used about a cup of powdered sugar with some melted butter, more butter, everybody, and a little spoonful of milk. And I just gave it a good mix, a dash of vanilla, and topped it on top of the cinnamon rolls, and they turned out beautifully.
I'm making a 20-point turn in Fred Meyer's.
You did it in 3 points.
Honey, this is our birthday present to her. This is something she's been wanting. Isn't that great? We got her something.
All right, we've got a quick grocery haul here. Nana actually got us all the groceries from the grocery store. So this is Nana's haul. We got 3 of these, but the kids already ate one. It was gone in a millisecond. 2 huge bunches of bananas, a thing of strawberries, a big bag of cucumbers. We got 6 cucumbers there for the kiddos. It's one of the only vegetables they will eat lately. We've got our soft toothbrushes and baby toothbrush because he's been dipping people's toothbrushes in the toilet. So we've got to always make sure we have some back stock of that. We found some mangoes. I think it was $1 for these 3 mangoes on the produce discount shelf. And then because we went into town and spent the day in town, we grabbed 2 chickens for dinner tonight. So 2 savory dinners. We also grabbed some toilet paper to restock and some tissues to restock. And my stepmother, Nana, got us a beautiful new kettle because I make lots of tea. And often I'm around the house somewhere doing something and I walk away from my stove and my kettle's going off and whistling really loud. So she purchased us this beautiful kettle, so I'm going to set it up and show you. If I can find a link for this tea kettle, I will link it down below in this video's description, but I did get it at Fred Meyer's, which is a Kroger branch store, so I'm sure you will be able to find this somewhere if you love it as much as I do. I also picked up this hand soap. It smells absolutely amazing. So if you see this and you see the mum scent, grab it because it's divine. Oh, this was our grocery haul. We also got some ice cream and some root beer to make ice cream and root beer floats, but the kids helped me carry in groceries, so things like this, the ice cream and the root beer, all got scattered and didn't end up in my grocery haul. So yeah, good times. We start back here with a whole chicken. We take all the meat off the chicken and we throw the carcass into the pot. I covered it with hot water. We're gonna go ahead and throw in some of these beautiful chicken feet for good measure. Those are gonna provide a lot of gelatin to this broth, make it nice and gelatinous. So we've got 3 chicken feet, we've got some garlic, we've got lots of ginger, and we're gonna throw some more stuff in there. This is going to cook on low for the next 24 hours. We're just going to throw this up here in our Instant Pot. Plug it on in. And we are going to hit slow cook. And for the first 4 hours, we're just going to let it cook on medium heat. And then for the overnight portion, we're going to keep it covered and let this simmer for the next 24 to 48 hours, and then we will can it into bone broth. Right here we have our trays that we're filling up to get going in the freezer and the freeze dryer, and let's see what else we can add to these. We got Nana over here in the kitchen helping us freeze dry some celery. This is what my dad calls Redeemer bread because I put it in the bread machine, all the ingredients except for the yeast, and then once it got to bake cycle, I realized what happened. And I took it out of the bread machine, added yeast to it, kneaded it, left it out overnight on accident, put it in the fridge at 5 o'clock this morning, baked it at 7 o'clock this morning, and it actually is really, really good. I divided it in 2, but I probably should have just kept it as 1. I like the crumb in it. The kids like the crumb in it. It's very tasty because it's still the same bread, and it's a very sturdy bread, and it's a yummy bread, right? Here you go.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh. Ah.
Okay, so you can make brown sugar with just some molasses and some regular sugar. Just 3 egg yolks. We have 1.5 cups of butter, I believe. Let me make sure I'm telling you right. Yep, 1.5 cups of butter, 3 egg yolks, and our 3 1/4 cups of sugar with about 3 tablespoons of blackstrap molasses. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the 4-fold vanilla. You can use any kind of vanilla that you like, but I'm just gonna put a splash of vanilla in there. I'm gonna give you all of the tripled recipe measurements, and I'm gonna put the single recipe down below in this video's description, and you can go off that if you want to double it, triple it, quadruple it. But we're starting out with 3 cups of oats and then 3 cups of flour. Next, we're gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. After we add that, we want to make sure it doesn't have any clumps in it. It's important that you don't have clumps of baking soda because it makes parts of your cookie taste terrible. So make sure you sift them or break them up. Then we're going to do 3 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice and 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm using the Ceylon cinnamon here. And then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of salt. We're gonna give our dry ingredients a good mix, and then we're gonna add these to our wet ingredients in the bowl. Once we have them all mixed in, I'm also going to add some chocolate because I love chocolate, but it's up to you whether or not you include chocolate in your recipe and how much. I'm gonna be using chocolate chips in this recipe today, or actually they're not chocolate chips. I got them from Azure and they are the carob chips. So we're trying those for the first time in this recipe. So Azure has chocolate and carob chips available. Here they are. They're gonna go in here, and I'm not measuring, I'm just dumping, and I'm going with my gut instinct. And you can do the same with your from scratch cooking. Go with your gut. Pour until your ancestors tell you to stop. Part of these are going to get baked, and part of the batter is going to be scooped into balls to go into the freezer to be baked another day. I love doubling and tripling my cookie recipes for this reason. Okay, so I didn't show you all, but these are the cookies that I made. I didn't show you when I pulled them out of the oven because life got crazy and busy, but these are the yummy, yummy pumpkin cookies. I made a bunch of them. I'm going to show you what I did. I scooped a bunch out into balls on a cookie tray and froze them. And then these are some that are pre-baked, and I'm keeping these in the freezer because I baked so many. I love to have cookies in the freezer. We can pull out some for an after dinner treat. Always having those. And then we also have the raw cookie dough frozen so that we can make fresh baked cookies to have with a scoop of ice cream. So it's always nice to have these little treats, and then I don't have to bake. Oops, toothbrush. I don't have to bake. It's nice having treats like this. Then we don't have to bake as frequently. Just do one big baking day, usually a month. I do one big baking day and have cookies and stuff for the month. Went outside and grabbed all the meat for the week, and also to show you that these are the cookie dough balls, and I'm going to put these in a plastic bag and save them for another day. I also cooked up a ham yesterday, and so we're going to be eating on this for the next few days. I'm going to carve some off for breakfast. This ham was ready late last night, so once it was cooled, I popped it into the fridge. That's why it's looking a little bit dry, but it actually was cooked perfect. It's just that it's cold, and I'm cutting it cold. I've mentioned this recipe quite a few times on my channel. There's my little elk baby that you hear in the background. But this is Felicia from Grains and Grits cornbread recipe. If you want an excellent home milled cornbread recipe, I highly recommend you go over to her channel. She has lots of fantastic milled wheat and milled corn recipes that she shares with you all, and her recipe is a family favorite. I'm trying to add extra to it tonight just to bulk it up and make it a bigger cornbread to feed the 9 people that are currently in my home. So the measurements are going to be a little bit off from what her measurements are, but go ahead and go to Grains and Grit and check out her cornbread recipe. It is delish. I'll link it down below in this video's description for you.
What's he riding? Riding on the western slopes of Illinois. Me and my old paint ambling along. Out here where the prairie is in stardust, and breezes whisper with angelic song. Went to find that quiet kind of glory. Twilight used to be my favorite time, but early in the morning I'll saddle up and ride back to my Savior's city.
All right, we cooked up a ham yesterday, and by we, I mean me. Cooked up a ham yesterday, just now made this homemade, fresh ground, amazing, beautiful cornbread, and we're gonna have this with some of our home canned lima beans. So this is our dinner tonight. We are serving 7, 8, 9 people, and we've got some other things that we're gonna serve up, some applesauce that we canned up last year and some other things. But yeah, bon appetit. We have a lot going on in the kitchen today. We are on our second batch of broth, but I'm actually taking some out right now to make rice. And over here we have 4 quarts that are, they're depressurized, and now I'm just kind of letting them cool off a little bit before I remove them. And then we've got chicken from the chicken. So this is all the chicken meat. The carcass is in there with a lot more seasonings and herbs and spices and things. And then we're gonna turn this into some chicken gravy, and it's gonna feed our family of 9. We've got company. There's 9 of us here, so we'll probably use almost all of this for that. It's not a whole chicken. This is about 3/4 of a chicken. And like I said, we'll have that with rice and maybe some steamed broccoli. But you want to make your whole chicken stretch. So when we got these from Fred Meyer's the other day, we got 2 chickens and we ate the first one and turned the carcass into broth, and 1 chicken carcass with some feet and a bunch of vegetables and stuff will make 4 quarts of broth for you. And then you can make your bone broth, of course. And then right now, after we've done all that, now we're making our chicken meat broth, and then we're gonna make some more bone broth. That's how you make it stretch. Use it for your rice. Okay, so I know you guys are gonna ask, or maybe you're not gonna ask, and if you don't know how to make a basic gravy, there's so many YouTube how-to videos on there. But what I did was I threw some lard in the pan. I put probably 4 tablespoons of lard in the pan, and then I added a little bit of butter. And I added all of my chopped up chicken from my chicken carcass. This is all the dark meat and everything in there. And once my chicken was coated in the lard and the butter mixture, so 4 to 6 tablespoons of fat. So I'm making a whole lot of gravy. Once everything was in there nice and warm and started to sizzle, and there was a little bit of fat in the bottom of the pan, I added 2 heaping tablespoons of flour. I let all the flour absorb all of the gravy, or all the fat. All the flour gets absorbed, absorbs the fat, and then you let it cook for about 1 minute, and then you start adding your liquid. And the liquid I'm using is this nourishing broth right here. So this is another way we can stretch a meal of meat. This is a chicken, or part of a chicken, that we are stretching to feed 9 people. So right now what I do is I just keep adding some liquid until my gravy gets thick, and once it starts to get too thick, I add more liquid. So I don't want this sticking on the bottom. I do want it to cook the flour. You don't want this to taste like flour. I added my pepper and salt to the chicken before I added flour. So I added salt and pepper to my chicken in the pan, seasoned it, and then I added my flour, and then added my liquid, and then I'll taste it here in a minute and see how we're doing. But this looks about the consistency right here that I want. But I'm going to add as much liquid to it as the gravy will take, because like I said, we want to make this stretch. If I need to make more and the 2 tablespoons of flour isn't going to accommodate, what I can do is just mix a little cornstarch and water and add it to this and thicken it up more if we need to. But this is the consistency that we like, but it's probably not enough gravy. We're going to serve this over rice, so I'm going to keep trying to add a little bit more liquid, see if we can get the liquid content up. Okay, these are our jars of broth. Alright. I only canned 4 jars, but it doesn't take long to can broth, so I try to can it every chance I get, just to put some away for shelf stability, to have some, and then to have some to use for the week. So in the winter time, typically I do about 1 chicken or 1 round of broth per week. Now it's fall, so I feel happy that I can turn on my stove and do a lot more cooking. So you're gonna see a lot more of this kind of content. And I'm gonna show you guys how to can meat. So stay tuned for that. You might be a person like me, and this might drive you nuts, but I have been working really hard to not sweat the small things, okay? So let me show you what I mean. It's okay if your jars don't, this lid, this 4 jars lid, I would prefer it to be lined up with the front of this. I did that with these 2, and then I got in a hurry, and once I had the band on, it started to twist the 4 jars because I wasn't holding it down. On these other ones, I wasn't holding it down to keep it in place while I put the band on, and well, now they're off center. So that is okay. We're all gonna live to see another day. We're gonna take a deep breath and move on.
Yeah,
Tonight's dinner.
Let me do it.
And I am going to have a little bit of salt.
This is wonderful.
I bet it is.
Thank you, Mom.
I'll bet it is.
These are my broths from this last batch, and I'm just removing the lids, and everything is sealed with these 4 jar lids. I could tell when I pulled them out that they had a good seal. And how I check is just by lifting the jars. There we go. So now I'm just going to write what is in there exactly, because sometimes I can't tell my chicken broths from my beef broths, especially when I use roasted chicken. And then we put the date on, and I usually use the broth up within a year. I'm currently working on broth right now that I canned this time last year. So I'm pretty happy about that.
To you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Mama, happy birthday to you. Cha cha cha. Papa,
Thank you.
cha cha cha.
I love you all.
Say happy birthday, Mama. Say happy birthday. Are we gonna get takeout?
Birthday dinner.
Oh, don't let me get.
Got lots of
I'm trying to
tacos.
get.
My favorite.
There we go, honey. Thank you. Thank you, baby. And are these real hot?
You mean spicy?
Yeah, that's spicy.
Down the
Ghost.
center, and then I'll cut the little pieces.
Okay.
Does anybody have a measuring device?
Oh my goodness.
Definitely did not.
There she goes.
It's just like a wedding cake.
Yes.
But like, wait, what's inside? I wanna know.
Love.
Yes.
Love.
See the first slice. Why are they so small?
Because they're really tall.
Oh, it's chocolate.
All the work that Erin did.
Yeah, I baked the heck out of that cake.
Way to cut it.
Oh
Oh,
my.
my
That was
goodness.
beautiful.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, it's such a massive
Yes.
There's you want vanilla or butter pecan?
Pecan.
There's vanilla.
Yeah.
This. You want me to stop now?
Yes.